On the private property side, correct. It would be in your office, your commercial, your industrial, and then your mixed-use areas.
The city council just did pass an ordinance that regulates the deployment of these devices within the right-of-way. The big issue is the companies wanted to place them in the right-of-way as opposed to private property, but they included that in the statute, so they have more options. But their goal was to be able to put these things up. They're designed to expand the next level of speed for wireless technology and to also provide better coverage for areas that have poor coverage. By using the right-of-way and by using the smaller towers, they don't have to go out and spend a lot of money to rent a big tower and lease land or buy land to put them on. So what the state basically said is, you must allow them in your right-of-way. You must allow them to use utility poles, whether owned by you or a third party. They define a utility pole to include a stoplight, a stop sign, all those things. If they use a city-owned pole, we can charge a very minimal rent. I think it's like $200 a year or something like that. It's ridiculously low. We cannot prohibit them. We can require them to show that it's structurally safe and sound, which we did do through our ordinance. And then the other part of the statute was you have to allow them in your non-residential districts. You could put some minimal zoning controls on them, setbacks, things like that. So we did the one for the right-of-way already. This text amendment is to regulate the private property side to control setbacks and height and things like that.
How many of these, in a town the size of Belvidere, how many of these are we required to have?
As many as they want.
Isn't that nice?
Thank you, State of Illinois.
Well, who is they?
Yeah, who's they?
Whoever manufactures or wants to locate them. Typically, it has been outfits that I recognize. I didn't recognize the name, but they are technology companies that cater to your big network companies or data companies like Verizon, Sprint, and those entities. But it's third parties that actually own them, erect them, and then lease the bandwidth to the big cell companies. Correct. And they, by the way, they did preempt home rule authority.
Nope.
No, but we can, for example, it will be effectively regulated to some extent because of technology. You can't have too many too close to each other or they interfere with each other. We tried putting in language, for example, that you can have more than one for every 300 or 500 feet or something like that, and that got tossed out by the state. Yeah, effectively it's unlimited. There are some distance requirements, but not very many. I wouldn't say we're taking steps to make it as restrictive we can, although the ordinance probably does do that.
I tried.
There aren't very many restrictions that are left to us, frankly. And it really comes down to, you know, if they hadn't regulated it, and in fact, there were some draft model ordinances that had been promulgated by the Home Rules Attorney of the IML and some other groups before the legislation came down, that some communities, we looked at starting to draft and adopt one, and then they passed the statute. And the question was, how much do you really want to limit it? How much do you want to regulate it? Because the reality is it does provide a better data service, a better broadband service to your constituents. So the reality is you probably did want to allow that in your right-of-way. You probably did want to allow it into your non-residential districts. The question is how many, how much, and where. But it is a good thing.
So they won't be like fence posts down the road?
No, no. Did you bring any pictures of them?
No, the pictures kind of varied, but most of them have kind of like a little box that I think they were saying like 32 cubic square feet, and then it was like a black pole. All the pictures I saw, it was like black. It wasn't shiny metal, it was black. But they're mostly just poles with a little utility box next to it.
Most of them are going to be about the size of a small refrigerator sitting on top of a utility pole.
So this is all pretty new.
Mm-hmm.
Contact any other communities that have had experiences, or just too new to?
It's too new. I mean, I have talked. I did contact before the state statute came down. Yes, I discussed it with other municipalities, and looking at the ordinances we were going to try and adopt at that time, but
So we're just wasting our time.
no, you got to be here anyway.
Gotta try to be aware.
No, you have to be aware, and if we don't adopt something like this, then as Gina said, they may not be able to go into the residential districts, but they'll be able to pretty much carte blanche what they want to do in the industrial and commercial districts. So this will at least limit them to height and
Good old state of Illinois.
distance.
Motion to approve.
Yeah. All right, we're gonna close the public hearing for case 2018-23 at 6:12. Would the chair, commission like to put a motion to approve? So, okay.
And the second was,
Any more discussion? All right. All right. Seeing none, we're gonna do a roll call.
Andy Rice,
Aye.
Art Highland, Bob Cantrell, Daniel Revelo,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
The case is approved.
Okay. All right, opening case 2018-24 at 6:14. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner. The applicant Becknell Services, on behalf of the owner, 675 Corporate Parkway, Becknell Investors LLC, is requesting a special use for accessory outdoor storage on the south and east sides of the building at 675 Corporate Parkway within the planned industrial district. The property is 22.62 acres and located in Flora Township. It is currently developed with a large industrial building and parking lot. There is a drainage way that runs along the southern boundary of the property. As stated, it's currently Magna Exteriors. To the north is Oakley Industries and row crop production. To the south is Grupo Antolin and row crop production. To the east is Natural Gas Pipeline, Bible Baptist Church, and row crop production. All of the properties of the east are currently in the county and not in the city limits. To the west is more row crop production. The property is all planned industrial except for the county to the east is A1 agricultural preservation. The comp plan shows the whole area being planned industrial. The property is part of Sager Corporate Park, which was annexed into the city in 1990. It was platted in 2016. In 2016, construction began on a 221,844 square foot building, and a special use was granted for 15,000 square feet of outdoor storage at that time as well. Magna Exteriors has been very successful since moving to Belvidere in 2016. The original employment estimate of 460 people has increased to almost 1,000 employees. This has caused a significant parking issue at the facility, which the company is addressing by constructing an additional 226 parking spaces. Construction of this parking lot expansion is currently underway, and stormwater detention was increased to accommodate the additional parking lot and the proposed outdoor storage area. When they did their stormwater management plan, they factored in both just so that they wouldn't have to revise it again. The original outdoor storage area has also been outgrown. The applicant is requesting 3 additional separate outdoor storage areas for a total of 35,750 square feet, which is 20,750 square feet more. 2 of the outdoor storage areas are proposed along Tripp Road and 1 is proposed south of the building. All the outdoor storage areas will avoid the drainage way that runs south of the property. Based on our knowledge of the outdoor storage area approved in 2016, the applicant is requesting the ability to plant additional landscaping in lieu of fencing. The security fencing in place now meets the height requirements of the zoning ordinance, but does not visually screen the large containers being stored outside. Trees will provide the visual screening that the zoning ordinance intended. Due to the nature of the outdoor storage and the equipment needed to move and utilize the containers, The areas must be located near vehicle traffic circulation areas, greatly dictating where they can be placed. The outdoor storage areas will be located on the south and east side of the property. These areas will be screened from the view of the residences and school north of Grant Highway, with additional screening to the east, which is Tripp Road. This level of screening is greater than what was previously approved in the subdivision. The outdoor storage areas are not expected to increase the amount of traffic or congestion in the subdivision. The special use for outdoor storage will not lessen the property's level of compliance with the comp plan, and the site will be required to be in conformance with the intent of the city's zoning ordinance. The property is surrounded by a mix of industrial, commercial, institutional, and agricultural land uses. The comprehensive plan shows properties west of Tripp Road as industrial and properties east of Tripp Road as business. The first outdoor storage area was approved in 2016 and has not deterred the Speedway gas station and truck stop from adding services or the proposed car wash from developing. The pending replat of the property west of Speedway is in anticipation of more commercial businesses locating in the park despite the existing outdoor storage. The planning staff does not anticipate any potential adverse impacts of the accessory outdoor storage areas. The storage areas will be screened from view by the building and the landscaping. Industrial development spurs economic activities not only for the immediate neighborhood but for the entire city. Therefore, staff recommends the approval of case 2018-24 for the special use at 675 Corporate Parkway, subject to the two conditions. Substantial compliance with the submitted site plan, and the outdoor storage area shall be screened by landscaping and substantial compliance with the landscape plan submitted.
Gina, can you provide testimonies to publication and certified mailings?
Sorry. Certified letters were sent out August 21st, and it was published August 24th.
All right, does the commission have any questions of staff? Does the applicant or any interested parties have any questions of staff?
Do you have questions?
Oh, wait, is this questions or is this, oh, okay.
Are you sure?
All right. Shoot, I lost my place. Does anybody have any, I'm sorry. Does any member of the public have any questions of staff? Yes. Could you come up and sit down by a mic? You're going to have to hold the button down, and I will need you to state your name. Yes.
Sure.
Well, my name is Dudley Matties. I'm pastor of the Bible Baptist Church in Belvidere.
Okay.
And we are a little concerned with the outside storage. We're not necessarily opposed to the outside storage, but we're not very satisfied with the way it looks.
Oh,
And,
do you have any questions at this point? Or is this a statement? Okay.
Will the new expanded storage be just like the old storage? I suppose that'll be my question.
So I'll briefly answer that, and then when Jeff gives his presentation, he can go into more details. I just don't want to misspeak. But right now, everything's kind of like haphazard out there. So the special use will require it to be in 3 defined areas with landscaping around it instead of just sprawled out through the whole site. It'll be in more defined areas on concrete with landscape screening and barriers, and he can go into more details on that.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
All right, does the applicant have any testimony? All right, please come up.
Why don't you use this one, Jeff? I know. It's because you have to hold the button down. Just press it once.
All right, please state your name.
Jeffrey Lincolnheld with Arc Design Resources. We're
Do you-
the civil engineering consultant for
Do
the
you-
project.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do.
Okay.
So Gina did an excellent job talking about the Magna project. They are wildly successful. They came to Belvidere in order to build bumpers for the new Jeep. And then Jeep said, hey, we think we're gonna make our hatchbacks plastic, so we need you to build those too, both the inside and the outside. So now they have, instead of having a front bumper product line, they've got 3 products going. And it's caused them a lot of heartburn on their startup, obviously. There was a big issue with the parking. They threw down some temporary gravel to try and help the situation for a while, but we're getting the parking lot built now, basically doubling the size of it, maxing it out. At the same time, the storage of the bumpers and the tailgates and the hatchbacks has been a problem. You know, as you know, Chrysler's a just-in-time facility, or Jeep, so they kind of build them here and then get the phone calls like, hey, you know, we need the green bumper or the green hatchback. So they send it over in the truck. The storage has been, to my friend Mr. Pastor Dudley's comment, it has been very haphazard, as Ms. Delrose explained. The proposal is to construct these new forklift-ready concrete pads away from the driveways where everything is being stored now, and get them off the driveways onto their designated areas. I think in your packet, I didn't bring anything like a big board or anything to go through this time, but if you look at your packet on this page here with the landscaping, the east side of the property is here, so that the product would actually be moved further away from Tripp Road to answer one of Pastor Dudley's questions. And then on the south side of the property, there's a landscape berm and then a little water quality basin that we built with phase 1. That would actually, one of the pads would be down to the south side of the property there. We recognize that these things are stacked about, 15 feet tall. So having a 6-foot cyclone fence, it's kind of like, well, okay, great, meets the rules, but what's it doing for us? So what we proposed was to add some more pine trees to the existing landscaping in order to try and, hey, let's do something to screen these areas instead of just putting up a fence to meet the ordinance. So that's why we're requesting the requirement for the fencing be dropped. We think the trees are a better solution. It's just a win-win for everybody. Like I said, the forklift-ready pads are all going to be concrete. They do need to be in somewhat close proximity to the building because it's, forklift traffic. So we kind of located them in the best spots we could, given the constraints of the site, and hoping for approval and hoping to keep building hatches and bumpers as far as the eye can see. Any questions from you guys?
Yeah, I have a question. I don't see the need to remove the requirement for a 6-foot-high fence. I think you want to limit access to your property in terms of what you're going to stack there. I know you said they're 10 or 15 feet high, but also I think you want to limit access in terms of safety. What can go wrong will go wrong, and I think you want to protect yourself. 6-foot-high fence, you can still plant your pine trees, but the fence will, in no uncertain terms, tell people to stay out of the area. That it's a private area. The public is not invited to be there. If you just put the pine trees up, I think you're going to have some difficulties with people. And I want to see that. It's a safety issue to me.
Okay, fair point. This fencing was not intended to be enclosed or securely locked, so it would be 3-sided only. That's why we started thinking like, well, why? It's not really keeping anybody out if they really wanted to go in there and walk off with a hatchback. I guess they could.
It inhibits access,
Yeah.
It tells people that that's private property,
Mm-hmm.
stay out.
All right, does the audience
Well,
or the,
I mean,
all right.
Mhm.
to your point, I personally think that's really kind of a business decision on the company as to whether or not they want to secure their inventory. Relative to our concerns, I think the more aesthetic it can be for neighbors is probably more important from the community standpoint as opposed to how they choose to secure their.
I think if there was a lot of cardboard, empty boxes or something that were gonna be, just kind of thrown in there and maybe blown around, that'd be a different story, but these things are pretty heavy and they're on these big heavy plastic pallets. So the only issue that I know of is there was actually one, a forklift did tip over, running down one of these driveways, earlier this summer. But they haven't had any issues of like the stuff blowing away or anything like that,
If it's
so.
only three-sided, you're not gonna have much
Yeah.
security from.
No, you wouldn't. Well, I guess I'll just go on record as saying we'd prefer to, get approval on with what we submitted with the variance on the fencing. And should they decide that there is a, sticky fingers problem, obviously they'll come out here and we'll fence the whole property in. But until that point, they haven't had any issues to date from the past 2 years, so they kind of went this different direction.
Gina, in terms of the fencing, how come it's only on 3 sides? Why wouldn't it be on both sides as well?
Well, there's always going to be the gate for access. And if a company chooses to have the gate open during business hours so that they're not constantly opening, shutting, then it would in turn be like a 3-sided fence during that time.
I think it's a safety issue. We had on the, hang on.
Gina,
On the property, the first outdoor storage area was approved in 2016, and that area is fenced.
It's fenced on 2 sides with the building on the 3rd side, and then it's open to the truck dock area.
I think, we should just proceed. That's worked. We should continue with the 6-foot fence here too.
Gina, the fencing that's required in this portion of the zoning code is it decorative screening fencing or is it actually security fencing?
It's a screening fencing, which is why I felt if you're looking at the intent of the zoning code and the fencing was there for screening and not security, when you have outdoor storage of this magnitude, the landscaping serves that purpose a lot better than a 6-foot tall fence.
I think it's just more of a safety issue to me, because if there's access where it's located, again, I want to inhibit access to the area, to keep people out. Just let people know they're not welcome.
All right, does the commission have any further questions? Does the public have any questions of the applicant?
Do you have any questions of Jeff? Pastor?
Myself.
Yeah, if you have any questions for Jeff, now would be the time to ask him.
Well, as everyone here knows, the wind comes out of the west from here, and we have lots of things blowing across into our property and into the fields around our property. It's been a problem since the start of construction. So maybe a fence would screen that out. I don't know.
Okay.
Well, am I supposed to answer that? I guess, yeah, I'm not sure how much garbage you're getting. I know they have a lot of people there. Hopefully, a lot of it was construction, people not minding their bins during the building. But when I go out there, I don't necessarily see a lot of paper or stuff going around. It's just my take. I don't. Hopefully, it's calmed down since the actual factory's been open. But you live there, so you have,
That is true. It isn't as bad as it was. But there's like, packing slips, packing plastic, that kind of thing, and packing. But it's, I don't know, maybe a fence would prevent that. I don't know.
Okay, any further questions? All right, hearing none, thank you. Does the public have any testimony that they would like to give? All right, please come up. Please state your name again.
Dudley Matties. I'm the pastor of the Bible Baptist Church here in Belvidere.
All right, do you swear to tell the truth?
Yes.
All right, you may proceed.
Well, we, as I said, we're a little concerned with the outside storage. It's not necessarily the outside storage, but I have a few photographs here, if I may.
Sure.
And this was taken on the back side of the building, and these are, I don't know, they're packaged in plastic. I don't know if it's parts or if it's scrapped or if it's trash or what it is, but that is what we see on the east side from the front of our church. And these containers they're passed through, and they pack in with from what I've seen. I'm of course not an expert on it, but what I've seen, they pack with a forklift and they push it through, and the back side just hangs out all over. Some of it falls on the ground. And these two photographs I took today, and this is from the grass of our church, from the front of our church. It's piled through there, and I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure. I would hope this is not the case, but
What do you estimate the height of these are?
they're like 15 feet or so, or 15 or 18 feet. And 2 weeks ago, all of these racks were packed solid like this picture. And I'm not sure if they've been cleaned up in lieu of the hearing this morning, but or this evening, I mean. But as I said, we're not really opposed to the storage. It's an eyesore in the way that it's handled and the way that it's packed.
Well, it looks like they're stacked 5 high.
They're very high, yes, sir.
I'd say they're more than 10 or 15 feet. They look to be about, each one looks to be 4 to 5 feet, so 5 times that's, you're talking 25 feet high.
Well, that could be true. But when you stand in front of the church, it's just solid, you know. And as I said, they're packed full, but all of a sudden they've been emptied. And I don't get the whole project really. But that's what we're concerned. We're concerned with the aesthetics, the way it looks, and it looks terrible, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
And so we don't know what the solution is. We just are not very pleased with the way it looks out from the church.
So I do want to reiterate, yeah, right now it's just all over that side. With the special use, they are required to keep it in those 3 predetermined locations that's in the site plan.
Well, I don't know anything about it. All I know is what's been. I've got the plan here, and I see where these new areas are going to be. You're saying that all that's in front of the church, you know, and as far as like where the building is, all that's going to be moved out of there. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. They can only have that stuff in those pre-approved locations. They can't have them all over the place anymore once the special use is approved.
Okay.
Is there any kind of requirement on height, how high they can stack?
There is not a requirement in the zoning code. That is why the zoning code requires screening, mentioned fencing. Obviously with something that tall, a fence is not going to screen it, which is why he's adding, if you look at the landscape plan, a good amount of pine trees that will act as
I agree,
full
the
screening.
The trees, a chain link fence 6 feet tall will hardly screen one of them.
The letter we received said they'll put in trees that are maybe 6 to 8 feet long, tall, and that's.
Wait a few years for it to go.
Yes, sir. I think we all know you plant trees for the next guy. You
Yeah.
know, it'll take a while for them to mature, and so that's our concern. Our concern is the way it looks, and
Well, it doesn't look good.
it does not. And if
We can combine safety with aesthetics, you know.
yes, sir.
Get the chain link fence up, then we can have the trees, you know. And if
25
if they want to be good neighbors, they'll find some really tall trees to plant.
Yes, yes.
Or a 25-foot tall fence.
We understand,
Not allowed.
we understand our property. We have 3 acres there approximately, and we're right in the middle of the enterprise zone. We understand that. And we've known all along that industry would, you know, sooner or later be coming in. But we have to remember that Magna moved into our neighborhood. We didn't move into theirs. and so we're just concerned with the aesthetics, with the way it looks.
Good neighbors.
Yes,
Yeah.
we're pro-business. We know jobs. We need jobs. You know, and matter of fact, we are Bible believers, and the Bible says if a man doesn't eat or doesn't work, he shouldn't eat. So we believe men ought to work, and we're glad for the industry, and we're glad for the jobs that come to our community. But we're just concerned about the aesthetics, the way it
Sounds
looks.
like they're trying to make them better.
Okay, all right, that's fine. All right, yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Lincoln Hill, do you have any questions for the pastor?
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there any questions? Yes, sir.
Just a comment, Pastor Dudley. So the reason that we're doing the pads, asking for special use is because we recognize that they just have to wait. They've been too successful for what was originally designed, so we need more spaces to put this stuff. In the meantime, it's sitting on the driveway right across from the church.
Yes.
So all that stuff, anything that you're seeing now would be further away from you with the new plan, obviously. Or it's going on the other side of the driveway in these defined areas. So just know that, yeah, the solution to the problem is to get these pads installed, move the product into these locations, help get it away from, from Trip Road and yours, and, further away from the property, basically.
All right. All right. All right, thank you.
Did you have any
I
questions of him?
didn't have a question
Oh.
for the pastor. I did have a question for
Ian.
Ian.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, you can proceed.
So, the point of having at least 6 foot.
Yes.
boundary control.
Our zoning code has an entire section on landscaping, and it's broken down by tree species and type. And deciduous trees are mostly 2-inch calipers at time of planting, and coniferous ones are 6 feet tall. So that is the minimum. Yeah, otherwise you get the little.
All right, is there any more questions from the public? Or, I'm sorry, is there any more statements? All right, hearing none, we will move on. All right, we are closing the public hearing of case 2018-24 at 6:40. Does the commission have any further discussions? Yes.
Yeah, I want to make a motion that the property be fenced with a 6-foot-high fence.
Mr. Rice,
What's that?
this is not the point to do that. I'd first entertain a motion to approve the findings of fact.
You want to include this in the findings of fact?
No, you include this as a condition when you approve the case.
Okay.
All right, any further discussion? Okay, then can I have a motion to approve findings of fact?
Second.
Paul Engelman,
Yes.
Robert Cantrell,
Yes.
Daniel Revelo,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes?
Art Highland,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
The findings of fact are approved as presented.
First, entertain a motion to approve the case.
All right, do we have a motion to approve the case?
So move.
Second.
They can ask about any discussion or amendments.
All right, are there any further discussion or amendments?
Motion to amend to require that the property be, have a 6-foot fence.
Mr. Rice, you're asking for a 6-foot fence around the entirety of the property or on one side, or?
on whatever our zoning code provides for.
So you want a 6-foot fence around the outdoor storage areas?
Yes, please.
So that would be a third condition under conditions? Is there a second?
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion on the amendment?
Any discussion on the amendments or amendment?
We don't want to beat a dead horse, but we think it's appropriate. I don't see why this was waived. I don't think pine trees are going to inhibit people from going on their property. I think as a property owner, I think you'd want your property fenced in terms of safety, okay, to keep people out. And you know, unless you do that, there are going to be people who are going to have access to the property. If you put a fence up that tells people to stay out, that it's private property, okay? I think it's a part of our zoning code. I don't think it should be waived. I think we should do what the zoning code says. It's there for a reason.
I do kind of think around the storage area where you're gonna have papers and stuff flying around, that might inhibit some of that flying all over the place in the winter, in the summer, in the wind. Just the storage area, though.
Okay, oh, yes?
So what we are trying to do is create a full fence, an enclosed space.
Whatever our zoning code would require, that's what we want. He requested approval of these outside storage pads without fencing. So I think at a minimum, we want that area fenced in, okay? I don't get why you would not want a fence there in terms of, to me, it's a safety issue. You keep short people out.
Gina, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think our zoning code requires full fencing around outdoor storage. It only requires screening from adjoining properties, correct? I might be wrong on that, but for some reason that sticks in my head.
Andy, I think the intent is for, as Attorney Drella said, it's for screening. So the intent, to my understanding, is not for public safety or security or the security. So unless we're requiring them to fully enclose it, then I think we're defeating the purpose of your intent.
I think you want to limit access to the property. I really do. In terms of, you saw the pictures that he brought, and you know, there are people who will go in there if there's no way to block them. And you know, even a 6-foot fence may not stop them, but at least they'll have to climb over it. And that will alleviate some of the liability that the company would face if somebody got hurt back there.
So the code says that it shall be enclosed by a permitted combination of buildings, structures, walls, fencing. Such walls and fencing shall be a minimum of 6 and a maximum of 10 feet in height and shall be designed to completely screen all materials from view at an elevation of 5 feet above grade. So again, it wasn't for security, it was for screening, which with this, a cyclone, you know, it wouldn't provide the screening. And it did say walls, fence, structures, buildings. It just something to screen it, which is why we went with the landscaping, because that actually provided for the intent more than a 6-foot chain link fence. I understand keeping in the packing slips and garbage that could be flying around and security, but it's never going to be fully enclosed. They're going to have a gate so that the forklifts can come and go. I mean, it's never going to be.
They don't want a gate.
They're going to have to in order to access it. You'll have to have a gate open for them to be able to access the areas.
Go all day long, I would imagine.
Exactly.
And I guess I was in error because the code does say enclosed.
enclosed to provide screening.
If the motion was to require a 6-foot fence around the outdoor storage areas, absent further direction from the commission, if this were to pass, my interpretation would be a fence around the entire thing with some kind of gate to open and close as forklifts go in and out.
There's a fence around what now? There's a fence around some storage area now?
The one on the south side, yes.
That's 3-sided as well.
To Jeff.
See why we would wait if we required it previously. And it's worked. To me, it's a real issue of safety. And again, being responsible.
But they're not gonna want to open the gate 50 times.
Does the gate have to be closed during working hours?
When you get into language like that, you have to look at the enforceability. We're not going to station a staff member out there all day long to see if they shut it after every forklift.
Yeah.
No.
Pays $50
Oh, Daniel, sorry.
Barrier-wise, I think the road's already somewhat of a barrier, because to get into that business, you have to go through these streets anyway. And saying people are already working there, I think almost 24 hours anyway. There's people always on site, so if anybody's going to steal, somebody's going to see it. There's always somebody going in and out with a forklift. So I don't think that is going to be a problem, somebody stealing. As a company knows that if somebody's stealing, they don't want to lose profits. They're going to fence it in themselves without us telling them what to do.
Well, evidently over the last 2 years, they haven't had a problem with that.
And the issue isn't theft, it's the access of somebody getting in there and somebody getting hurt, you know, and, you know, what can go wrong, will go wrong.
All right, any further discussion?
So you have to do a entertain roll call vote on the amendment, and after you do it, then you do a vote on the actual case.
Okay. Can we get a roll call vote on the amendment, please?
Okay. One moment. Okay. Andy Race,
Yes.
Bob Cantrell,
No.
Art Highland,
No.
Paul Engelman,
No.
Daniel Arevalo,
No.
Ally Mayer.
No.
So the amendment fails,
So the amendment fails.
and now you need to vote upon the case originally.
Okay, can I get a motion to approve,
I think we had a motion.
or we already have a motion, my bad. Can I get a roll call to approve case 2018-24?
Andy Race,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Paul Engelman,
Yes.
Daniel Arevalo,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
The case is approved, subject to the 2 conditions as presented in the staff report.
All right.
Goes to city council next Monday for first reading and second reading, final vote on October 1st.
All right. We, okay, we're gonna open discussion for case 2018-25 at 6:50.
Okay. So this request is just across the street from Magna. It is a subdivision replat. It will be officially Plat 5 of Sager Corporate Park, which is a replat of Lot 2 of Plat 3 and Lot 3 of Plat 1. It is turning 2 larger lots into 10 smaller ones. The property owner, Jack Pease, who's being represented by Phil Brown tonight, is requesting it. So back in the day, that was zoned office and everything else was industrial. In 2006, we switched it all to industrial. The property owner has always kept his intent of wanting that more office and retail, which is evident by the Speedway gas station that went in there and the car wash that you guys approved earlier this year. In order to make the rest of the property more marketable, he's asking for it to be split up into these smaller lots, so that it's a little bit more shovel-ready. The properties that front along 20 will be served by a frontage road that right now is Speedway, and then it went into the car wash. If you remember, there's gonna be like a frontage road kind of thing that goes through those lots to give them access. And then there'll be a cross-access easement. There are quite a few conditions of approval. Some of them are just technicality. Some of them are stuff that's always on there because it can't be done until it's all approved and finalized. I can read all 31 conditions of approval if you would like. You know the answer to that. So,
Move to skip reading of all 31 conditions of the approval.
I love you. I'll read the 31 conditions of approval.
Brian, I want to get out of here too.
Um,
We usually recommend that, but there's nobody here to even question it.
Yeah. I mean, the conditions are, there's a typo in the subdivision name, renumbering the lots, buildings. I mean, very small, nothing that actually changes the configuration of the lots, the configuration of the easements. Some easements are shown without full dimensions or full notes. We'll be working with the applicant and their engineer on just cleaning up that stuff, but nothing changes the configuration or the layout at all with these conditions of approval. So staff recommends approval of case 2018-25, subject to the 31 conditions of approval. The applicant is here if you have questions.
Second.
You tell Jack how easy this was.
All right. Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes.
Paul Engelman, Daniel Revelo,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
The case is approved, subject to the 31 conditions as presented in the staff report.
Okay.
Where is Jack? Where's Jack tonight? Oh, lucky you.
Okay, we're gonna open case 2018-26 at 6:55. Do you swear to tell the truth?
I do. Gina Delrose, Community Development Planner. The case was published in the Journal on August 21st, or 24th, and certified mailings were sent out August 21st. The applicant, who is present tonight, State Street Gaming, on behalf of the property owner, Logan Avenue Properties, is requesting a special use for indoor commercial entertainment to operate a bar with video gaming at 2195 North State Street within the planned business district. Property is 32,626 square feet and developed with a 16,052 square foot building and parking area. It was formerly a Sonic's Drive-In. To the north and east is row crop, to the south is commercial and office buildings, and to the west is residential and more row crop, both in the county. It's planned business along with the north and east, neighborhood office to the south, and it is unincorporated Boone County to the east. The comp plan shows the area being planned business except for single-family residential to the south, which is kind of weird since it's already developed with office. But whatever. Property was annexed in 2005, and that same year, Landmark Crossing subdivision was platted. A replat involving the subject property was approved in 2009, and Sonics was granted a special use for a planned development that same year. The restaurant was officially closed in 2015, and the property has been vacant since then. The applicant intends to remodel the interior of the building and add 5 video gaming machines, a bar with seating, and a small seating area in the front. The existing kitchen space is not intended to be utilized. Consumption of alcohol cannot occur outside on the outdoor patio area without a special use for outdoor commercial entertainment. So this is just for the inside of the building right now. The zoning ordinance was updated in 2006 to allow indoor commercial entertainment as a special use. In 2013, Illinois state law allowed municipalities to determine video gaming. The state limits the number of machines to 5 per establishment, and every establishment must have a liquor license that allows for the pouring of alcohol, except for those that qualify as a truck stop. In 2013, Belvidere voted to allow video gaming, and in 2018, the city council voted to limit the number of gaming machines to 30. This application would permit at the time of the staff report, I put down 32nd establishment, but I might be off by 1. Me and the city clerk were working on some things, but it's over 30. But right now, only 21 establishments are in operation, leaving 9 sets of licenses available. So although we have approved more special uses and licenses, it comes down to who is going to get their license first. Because there are some that have been approved for almost a year and they haven't done anything, so they could end up expiring, which is why it was tied to the number of licenses, not special uses, because those can close and expire and other things. And I'll get into that later. So the building is less than 1,700 square feet, which greatly limits both the number of patrons that can occupy the building and the activities that can occur on site. Due to the size of the building and its location on the corner of Van Epps and North State Street, the planning staff does not anticipate large crowds, traffic, or noise occurring that would be disruptive to the neighborhood. The property is located in the commercial portion of Landmark Crossings and has frontage on State Street. It has adequate parking and circulation for a bar and video gaming establishment. Planning staff is not aware of any negative issues at the nearby commercial businesses, and the nearest bar with video gaming is approximately 1,600 feet away, have caused the residents of Landmark Crossings or those that live along State Street. Special use will not lessen the property's level of compliance with the comp plan, and staff is not aware of any circumstances that were created by the installation of bars of this size or video gaming machines that would impede development or improvements. The residential properties to the north were platted at the same time as the commercial properties, so those residents are fully aware of the potential and they have coexisted since the time of their creation. Due to the size of the building and the site, it's not expected to generate a high volume of traffic or be noticed by those driving past. Staff recommends approval of 2018-2016 for special use at 2195 North State Street, subject to the following condition. Alcohol is prohibited outside the premises unless a special use for outdoor commercial entertainment is obtained.
So you say there's a limit of 30 licenses within the municipality,
Correct.
and how many, and 21 licenses have been issued?
Correct. 21, so my latest spreadsheet, which has been revised several times, shows that 37 special uses have been requested. 5 of those have been either denied or have officially expired, which leaves 32 approved sites, 2 of which are inactive and are about to expire if they don't start moving relatively soon. And 31 are approved, 2 inactive, and then this one pending. So when you break it down, although there's been more special uses approved, when you look at those expired, those inactive, stuff like that, there are 9 licenses available. I do know of at least 3 that have already submitted their paperwork to the state. The state is taking about 3 to 6 months to approve the licenses, so FYI on that. But, yes, so that's why it was tied to the number of licenses issued and not by the number of special use granted. We went back and forth on that because special uses can expire. For instance, a special use was granted to Crazy Cameroons when they were on Buchanan Street, and now it's Gomez's Tacos. They don't have a bar in there, they don't have a liquor license, and they state that they have no interest in doing that. Well, after 12 months, if they don't change their mind, that special use is officially null and void, and now it's up for grabs again. So that's why we determined it on the number of licenses and not applications.
The primary reason is because the special use does not actually authorize video gaming. It authorizes any indoor commercial entertainment. Skee ball, pool tables, ping pong tables, bars, what have you. And you can open up any of those establishments without doing video gaming. So because this is actually part of a greater special use, we couldn't tie it to the special use. It's specifically tied to the license issued by the clerk's office, which Mr. Noble means it becomes a race to the proverbial courthouse as to who has the special use, gets in there first and gets their license.
Any other?
With that, since you have so many already, are we within our rights to go ahead and do one more?
Yes.
Yes, you are, because like I said, some of these look like they may never open or operate, so.
Well, he could choose to operate a bar. I doubt it, but he could, without the video gaming, if in fact he didn't get the license.
What's inhibited people from opening? Is it the fact that they didn't want to ante up to $10,000 for their liquor license?
No, some are personal reasons. Others, I think, are people that were not prepared to be business owners.
Not prepared to what?
Be business owners.
Their business plan wasn't successful.
You know, it seemed like when we had the $20,000 fee for the liquor license, that stopped a lot of people from coming forward and getting into this video gaming. So this is sort of insidious.
We never had a $20,000 liquor license at the same time as video gaming. The fee was reduced to
We had one-
$10,000.
We had one prior.
Right, but it was reduced to $10,000 prior to video gaming.
But that's what made video gaming easier to step into, okay? And that, you know, when you take the break off, that's what happens. And I don't know if this makes Belvidere a better place to live, because we have all these video gaming establishments, but some people might argue that it does, you know, because it gives people a way to throw their money away, right?
Any other questions?
Well, so if all of a sudden, all the people that have been approved, all of a sudden decided to go ahead and move forward, do we run into a situation where we could end up going over 30? Or once we hit 30, if you haven't already done it, then you're out of luck?
You're out of luck.
Yes. So, Mr. Sabino, when you look at what was applied and then take away the ones expired and denied and inactive, he's basically number 30. Everyone I've talked to since his application, I have been very honest with the situation. I actually met with a lady yesterday that wanted to pull 3 special use applications. So I told her, you can apply, but at this point, there is no guarantee. You would have to really cross your fingers that more drop off this list. And she said, thanks, I think I'm going to roll the dice. So you guys could still end up getting more applications next month. But I am being very honest. Mr. Sabino is basically the last one in the line. After that, it's you can apply, you can be approved, you can have the bar, but I cannot guarantee you would have a gaming license.
And quite frankly, you could have one come in next month on an establishment that's already there and ready to open up. And especially gets approved if he's got to do work inside the building, and they come in and get their liquor license and get everything approved faster. You could actually apply for the special use after somebody, but still get their gaming license before them. It's just, again, first one in the door for the gaming license wins.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't obligated to go over 30.
Nope, not at all.
No, you're not. And like I said, after the ones I spoke to after this application, I've been very honest with them. You know, I try not to take someone's application money if it's pointless. But like I said, I was honest with her, and she's said that she's pretty sure she's willing to roll the dice. So we'll see. Well, the special use application, and this isn't really relevant to the case, so, but the special use application is anywhere, when you look at certified mailings, NRI, and everything together, can range anywhere from $700 to $1,000. That's just for the special use. What the state and the clerk's office charges are separate.
The city is currently charging, I believe, we're not charging for the location permit. That's a free permit because we rake them over the coals on the gaming machines. I can't remember if it was $250 or $500 a machine now per year.
Again, this isn't necessarily relevant to the particular case, but that is the city, because I've been around for a while. Does the city, how much revenue does the city pay?
It's surprisingly somewhat significant. The way the formula is, essentially the property owner gets a third, or approximately a third. The company that actually owns the machines, because the machines are not owned by the property owner, they're owned by a separate company, they get about a third. The state gets a third, and we get 5% of the state's cut. Sound typical? But still, it ends up significant money. I mean, well into the six figures.
All right, any further questions? Does the applicant have any questions of staff? Does the applicant want us to do any statements?
If you can hold down the microphone button while you're speaking and state your name clearly for the record. You can have a seat if you want. Yeah.
Okay. My name's George Sabino, and I also own property on State Street. I have a tenant that is Molly's Gaming, and that's how I got familiar with the gaming.
1 moment, wait, do you swear to tell the truth? Okay. Good, good, all right. Sorry, you can proceed.
Okay. Anyway, that's how I became familiar with the gaming. And I look, a lot of people look at it, as gambling, but I see a lot of people come in there that's a big part of their life. I mean, I've helped people out of the cars I would help them with the oxygen tank, and this, these are people that may not be going out of town to the boat or that to gamble. So a lot of people, it's their life, it's their recreation. Okay, that being said, why do I want to do this? Okay, I live on Olson Road. I come to Belvidere every single day. Every single day for almost 5 years, I've driven by that Sonic location. For 5 years, I said, good grief, this is really bad. Everybody that comes to Belvidere, the first thing they see is an empty building with the lawn wasn't mowed and, not maintained. And the last thing they see when they leave Belvidere is an empty building. And so one day I decided I'm going to buy the building and I'm going to put something in it. And I've been working to get something in it, and then I realized the last gaming permit was could become available, so that's what I decided to do. I will put in a first-class place that Belvidere will be, proud of. On my property, I don't know if anyone's familiar with. I own the State Street Plaza there, where the cash store is, the new donut store, T-Mobile, Jimmy John's. That's my property. I brought that up and made it. I feel I did a good job for Belvidere there, and you can rest assured I'll do a good job out there. So, I guess that's all I could say, and that's the truth.
All right, thank you. Does the commission have any any questions of the applicant? All right, hearing none. We will move on. All right, seeing that there's no one in the public, we'll close this case 2018-26 at 7:07. Or 7:12? Shoot, you're right, it is 7:12. It's a long day. My bad. Can I have a motion to approve findings of facts?
So moved.
Second.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Andy Race,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann, Daniela Revelo,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
All findings of fact are approved.
All right, a motion to approve case 2018-26?
So moved. Second.
Who was that? It was Andy, okay, thank you.
And the second,
Was Bob.
all right, Andy Race,
Yes.
Bob Cantrell,
Yes.
Art Highland,
Yes.
Paul Engelmann,
Yes.
Daniela Revelo,
Yes.
Ally Mayer.
Yes.
Case is approved, subject to the condition as presented.
Report short, because I think you guys are getting antsy. Aldi, we're waiting on their final resubmittal. We gave them our comments, nothing too crazy. We're just waiting for them to respond before we can issue a building permit. So that is still moving along. We're just waiting for them to respond at this point. For Aldi's. Yes. RP Lumber is currently demoing the inside.
What's the name of the company?
RP Lumber.
RP?
Yeah. He has quite a few locations in Illinois and Missouri, and I think maybe Iowa too. He's currently demoing the building. John, our new commercial building inspector, has been in communication with them. He's gone out to the site a few times to check on their status. And the owner knows that when he hits a certain point, he'll have to come in for building permits for the renovations inside. But right now, it's still being demoed inside. So that is the of the Kmart building. We thoroughly discussed video gaming and the number of licenses. The only application I have for you guys next month is just one, but it's a big one. Plody Quarry will be looking to annex into the city limits, and they submitted their special use application to operate the quarry and batch plant. So I'm very happy that is the only case on the agenda, because that could be a big one for you guys. That's all.
$7.15.
Oh, we're adjourned at 7:15.